The Internet of Things is going to be a real game changer for loyalty, just like mobile has been to date. So, hello and welcome. I'm your host, Dr. Ruby Gill, and I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to all on the behalf of lovely professional university. So, attendees, we all are gathered here to witness an incredible session on the topic Create Your Own IoT Device. So before we commence, allow me to introduce the expert of the day, Dr. Praveen Malik, Professor, School of Electronics and Electrical Engineering, Lovely Professional University. An intellectual professional with extensive experience in academia and industry and is highly regarded for his expertise in wireless communication, antenna design, MIMO, vehicular communication, and IoT. Dr. Malik has published more than 150 research papers in top tier journals and professional conferences and has also authored several books. Moreover, he has, to his credit, two design patents and he has been actively involved in teaching, research, and consultancy work for many years and has supervised many graduates and undergraduates in their research projects. In addition to his academic work, Dr. Malik is also a member of several professional organizations and further, he has received several awards and recognition for his contribution to the field of electrical and electronics engineering. So, sir, it's a privilege to have you on board with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. With equal pleasure, I would like to welcome our admission nominee, Ms. Himanshi, Officer, Lovely Professional University, and attendees today. She'll be discussing about the highlights of a university and the admission part of the university. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. So with this, we'll begin our today's webinar. So over to you, sir, and looking forward for a great interactive session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I think participant, I'm clearly audible to all of you, and my screen is also visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think I'm audible to all of you. Please confirm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good afternoon to all the participants, and as I believe that most of you belongs to the +2 or you are supposed to take your admission to some of the graduate programs like BTech or BSc, IT or some other fields. So today I'm here to give you a brief introduction and some exposure to one of the latest topic right nowadays in the market, to create your own IoT devices. And let me introduce first of all myself. I'm Dr. Praveen Malik, working as a professor in a School of Electronics and Electrical Engineering at Lovely Professional University, Punjab. And following are my credentials. If you want to contact me, so you can contact me on these details. Before starting this discussion, I would just like to ask you if some of you are having any preliminary questions, because today we are going to discuss how to create, how to design, how to fabricate, or what are the entities if you want to create a particular IoT enabled device. If you want to have a, if you want to create a design, you want to create a project, you want to create a system which is completely based on the embedded system or which is completely based on the IoT. So preliminary, if you have any questions, so you can send it in the chat box also. I will just have 2 minutes. If you have any questions, so you can send me the questions in the chat box. If you have any preliminary questions. Otherwise, after the end of this discussion, I will take the questions. Any preliminary question before the discussion, before the starting of this webinar? Okay. No issue. Means in between the discussion, if you face any challenge, if you face any questions, so you can write your queries in the chat box. And after the this discussion, after the end of this webinar, I will take your all the queries one by one. Okay, friends, let us start with first topic. What is internet? Right nowadays, it's a very emerging, word. And right nowadays, most of us are, listening this IoT based, systems, IoT based fan is there, IoT based healthcare systems are there. So many other things are there. So if anybody who would like to respond that what do you mean by the Internet of Things, if anyone can mute him or herself and can respond. Okay, let me introduce this topic, introduction to Internet of Things, or what the Internet of Things basically. Friends, right nowadays we all are familiar about the mobile phones. We all are familiar about the laptops and all other gadgets, iPads, pads, and all these things. So over there we use the internet. Over there we used to browse the websites. We used to book the tickets. Several apps are there which we used to have on daily basis. So what are these? What are these internet basically? These internets are for human. For example, if I'm going to use an app, I'm a human. I'm going to use the app. I'm a human. I'm going to book a ticket. I'm going to surf the internet. I'm going to read some news. I want to have some other interaction on the browser. So internet is for human, means if I myself is using on the mobile phone, on the laptop or some other thing. But did you ever thought, means if we go beyond, if we go in the history, so just 10, 20 years back, no one thought that our non-living things can also communicate to each other via some network. Say for example, if I take one example, means at your home, can you think that your microwave can communicate to your washing machine, or you are having your television at your home, your television can communicate to your mobile phone, or your mobile phone is there which can communicate to, say for example, your fridge, which is a completely non-living things. So yes, internet of things, or we can say internet for things also, right? So if we are supposed to create a system in which all the non-living things are there, and these non-living things are communicating to each other via a network, right? This is named as our internet of things, or internet for things. Means all the non-living things, if they can communicate to each other. Right nowadays we are having n number of systems, we are having n number of networks, throughout the world, by which we are using to, which we are going to communicate, which we are going to communicate, you know to to make the communication between the non-living things. Certain networks are there, certain protocols are there by which we are going to communicate. And in our country also, in India also, right now there's a lot of research is going on, lot of research is going on this particular topic. And most of you might have heard, most of you might have seen also at your home. Okay, say for example, IoT based fans are there right nowadays. IoT based televisions are there. IoT based microwave ovens, Alexa. Most of us, we are having Alexa at our home. So all these are the examples of your internet of things, right? And means believe me, in the next coming 10 years, I believe in the next decade, some more revolution is supposed to come in this field. Means hopefully our whole home, our whole office, our whole vehicle, our whole hospital, or our whole market, this mall, could be completely dependent upon this internet of things. So this is what the introductory part of this. What do you mean by internet of things? Means non-living things are there, and how they can use internet, how they can communicate to each other via a network. That's what. Okay, and now let us come to our main agenda for today's discussion. Creating the IoT-based devices. So, for example, if you are a student, you are a student of BTech, either EC, CSC, or any other branch. And say, for example, if you want to design a system, you want to design a project, you want to design a particular, thing which is completely based on the Internet of Things. So there are certain modules, there are certain things that you need to understand first. Preliminary, you need to understand these modules first, and then you can go for the designing of the product or designing of your project, right? Say for example, means you want to automate, and you want to automate an agriculture field. Is there is agriculture field, there are some crops, and you want to automate it, and you want to automate it with the help of the Internet of Things. Okay, I want to control, I want to see the temperature of my agriculture land automatically by sitting at my home. I want to see the humidity of the land at my home. I want to see the other things, means I want to see whether the rain is there or not, the humidity, what is the status of the humidity, what is the status of temperature, what is the status of moisture, soil moisture, right? And I don't want to check manually. I don't want to check manually. So I just want to sit in my office, and I have put some sensors in the agriculture field, and over there I just want to check that what is the status, and accordingly I want to react. Say for example, I have a motor, right? And I want to use this motor whenever there is a less amount of the moisture, say for example. Otherwise there could be some other method also. So I can put some sensor over there. I can connect this sensor to my central node, which is available at my home, at my office. They will communicate to each other with the help of the internet, and accordingly I can set a particular threshold. You say for example the humidity is less than, or temperature is, say for example, more than say 30 degrees centigrade. So in that case I have to switch on the motor for water irrigation. Say for example I have to switch on the fan which is placed in the poly house. So for that I need to I need to have some knowledge of the modules basically, right? If you want to design this kind of a system. Okay. And let me tell you one more thing. Not only the agriculture, right nowadays, as far as your embedded system is concerned, your Internet of Things are concerned, agriculture, your health sector, biomedical, and dairy fields. And say for example, if you go for the forest, right nowadays a lot of applications are coming for the forest. And say for example, you go fashion industries also, they are using a lot of IoT based devices, okay? So what I mean to say in our social life now, in our social life, nowadays there is no single field in which IoT has not put his footprint. So it is something like that. And yes, if you want to design your career in the field of embedded, or in the field of IoT, so I would suggest you can choose a different path like agriculture, healthcare, biomedical, dairy products, forest, industries, vehicle. Yes, vehicle means right now there's a lot of vehicles are there which are IoT based, and still there are so many drawbacks. A lot of research is going on. Industry 4.0, industry 5.0, vehicles, wearable sensors. So over there also there is a lot of scope for this IoT, right? Okay, so if you want to design a system, if you want to design a system which is based on the Internet of Things, so you must have some knowledge of the microprocessors. In our electronics world, we have microprocessors. You must have some knowledge of the microprocessors. You must have some knowledge of the microcontrollers also. So microprocessors and microcontrollers these are nothing but these are the heart of our system that we are going to design. And based on our requirement, what is our requirement? We are having certain modules, right? The modules which I have mentioned over here. So there are certain modules. For example, if you have a requirement for use of low level IoT devices, so in that case you can go for some Arduino Nano is there, Arduino Uno is there, Arduino Mega is there. But say for example, if you have some substantial requirement of the IoT enabled systems, so in that case, we have ESP8266. This is again one more module, right? And in this case, in this ESP8266, we are having Wi-Fi module also. And we have Node MCU, we have ESP32, in which we are having analog to digital sensors, right? S3 Microelectronics is a company, and this is also having one module, STM32, Raspberry Pi. So I believe that some of you would have heard this term Raspberry Pi. And Raspberry Pi is nothing but it's a computer. It's a computer which is having its own operating system, which is based on Linux, right? So most of you are aware about the Windows operating system. But yes, of course, if you have a more sophisticated, if you want to design a more engineering project, more sophisticated project you want to design, in which some analog sensors are there, some digital sensors are there, some image processing is there. Means you want to capture an image, and out of this image you want to find out which is who is the culprit, or means who is the person you want to you want to just extract some information from there. Means, say for example, there is a huge rush is there, and out of this rush you want to find out that how many males are there, females are there, you want to find out a particular person also. So that you can do with the help of this Raspberry Pi. But yes, of course, the price is also matter. And we have one more, that is Pico Pi. It is also a smaller version of our Raspberry Pi. And if you take the example of first one, Arduino, so you may go for the price of around 600, 700 rupees. If you go for ESP32, you have to spend around 800, 900 rupees. If you want to go for STM, you have to spend around 1000, 1200 rupees. Similarly for Pico Pi. And if you have to design a more sophisticated, then you have to go for Raspberry Pi, and that will cost, right now it is costing around 12,000, 13,000 rupees. So these are the modules. These are actually inbuilt modules are there, on which all the components, along with your microcontrollers, your some sensors, some analog inputs pins are there, digital input pins are there, crystal oscillator, power supply. All these things are on the board itself. So depending upon your requirement, what is your requirement, what kind of project, what kind of system, what kind of product you want to design, you have to choose your module accordingly. Sorry. As I told you, microcontrollers and microprocessors are nothing but the heart of a system. And let me just make a small bifurcation between these two, microcontrollers and microprocessors. Say, for example, if you want to design a smaller system, so then you can go for the microcontrollers, like 8051 is there, AVR is there, big microcontrollers are there. So you can go for them. But for example, if you want to design a more sophisticated system, in that case you have to go for the microprocessors. In our systems right nowadays, if you see, so we call it as a i3 processor. We don't call it as a microcontroller or controller, right? In Raspberry Pi also we are having the ARM processor. It is not a controller. ARM processors are there. Means if your requirement is quite big, so in that case you have to go for the processor. Otherwise, if your requirement is quite less, so in that case you can go for the microcontrollers also. And in the market there are so many companies, there are so many manufacturers are there, those who used to fabricate these microcontrollers. Atmel is there, Microchip is there, ARM is there, and then we have ST Microelectronics, then we are having Texas Instrument and XYZ. So many other companies are there, right? But out of these, for example, if you want to go for some reliable system, so in that case you can go for either microchip, you can go for ARM processor. Means if you have some more sophisticated design, in that case you can go for the ARM processors. But there are certain famous microcontrollers or microprocessors are available in the market as far as our academic part is concerned. So these are some of the microcontrollers which are available. 80 mega 328P is there, which we usually use in the Arduino board. We have Cortex 8 A8 processor for 1 gigahertz. We have 32-bit processor from this Extens company. We have STM32 ARM Cortex microcontroller, which we use in the academic kits. We are having ARM Cortex M0 also, right? Similarly, right nowadays we have started using the microchip SAMA 5D2 also. This is also one of a one of a good processor which we are right nowadays using in the IoT enabled devices. But again, the question is same. The same question is there. It totally depends upon your requirement. It totally depends upon your requirement. What is your requirement? Say, for example, if you have your requirement is less and you are going for the ARM processor. ARM processor is costly. So in that case, you have to make a checkpoint. You have to make a threshold somewhere that what kind of processor or controller you have to use, because in electronics world we are having some fights. We are having some fights of price. We are having some fights of size. Right nowadays, customer need more and more things in less and less space. Customer requirements is customer needs more and more technical things in less and less space. So accordingly, you have to choose that. Means whatever the requirement of the customer, how you can fit all these requirement in a single board with a less amount of cost. Okay. Yeah, now some of the sensors that we are using in the IoT enabled system, these are only some of the sensors. These are some of the famous sensors, I could say. As far as our academic part is concerned, as far as some of the industry part is concerned, we are frequently using this temperature sensors, humidity sensor to measure the humidity, pressure sensors we are using, proximity sensors. It's a non-contact detection of the object. PIR sensors are there, and some other sensors are also there. Level sensors are there. Accelerometer, I think accelerometer would be familiar for you. Gyroscope is there, which is used to measure the angular rate of velocity. Okay, and gas sensors are there. Yeah, gas sensors. If you want to design some interesting projects, you want to design some interesting products, so you can go for the gas sensors also. Means, for example, you want to design a system, let's say for the means some garbage are there, in gutters, for example, you want to design a system in which you find out that what is the situation of the gases over there, such that a particular layman person should get into this system or not. So you can design a system in which you can put some sensors which can detect the gas, like means actually I don't remember the exact name of these gases, but these sensors are available, and you can use the sensors accordingly. And means NO2 sensor is there, and some other sensors are also available. Infrared and optical sensors are also available, which we can easily incorporate, which we can easily interface with the help of the IoT enabled systems. And these are only limited sensors. Otherwise, if you go for some particular dedicated design, so in that case you have to choose your own sensor. In that case you have to go for the own sensor. Means sometimes you can use cameras also for a particular application. If you have some application, so you can use the camera and you can detect some certain things over there, and then can put some machine learning algorithm or some artificial intelligence algorithm, and then accordingly you can find out the corresponding things. Okay, now languages used in the IoT enabled devices. If you want to design an IoT based system, so what kind of languages usually use? First is the embedded C, we use the Java also, Pythons also we use, and sometime in some of the module we use the micro Pythons also, micro Python also. If you take the example of around 4, 5, 6 years back, so we were just limited up to the embedded C. But right nowadays we are having the modules, we are having the systems which can support the language of Java, which can support the language of Python also. And I'm happy to say that right nowadays Python is getting more attention. Python is getting more attention as compared to our embedded C or Java. Means in the last slide, as I have shown you, in the last slide I have shown you, so there are certain modules like ESP8266 there, ESP32 are there. Earlier they were not supposed to compatible with the Python, but right now nowadays ESP32 is there, Raspberry Pi is there, they are compatible with the Python also. Means if you want to write the code, you want to write a program in Python, so very easily you can write the program using the Python also. Sorry. So now in this means up to this point, what can I conclude? What we can conclude together? See, if you want to design an IoT based system, so first of all, you have to identify your problem. Once if you have identified the problem, then you have to select the microcontroller, that which microcontroller you are supposed to use, depending upon the requirement. And accordingly, you have to design your system. It could be a customized system, it could be a ready-made system also, right? And over there you can use the ports, that which particular board you want to use. And then you have to interface your sensors. Okay, which sensor you want to use, this actuator you want to use. It's not only about the sensor. For example, you want to use some actuators, you want to use some motors, you want to use some relays, you want to use some bulbs, you want to use some solenoids, some other actuators you want to use. So you have to make a interfacing system in which the problem will be there. You have to find out the microcontroller, find out the board, find out some sensors which can solve your problem. Accordingly, you have to choose some actuators, and then you have to write your code for this. Then you have to write your code for this. and you have to transfer, then further you have to transfer your data to the cloud or any other particular website or any other particular this app, or you want to receive the data from the app basically, right? So this is the whole structure how you have to do, means identify a problem and choose the microcontrollers, choose the board, choose the sensors, what sensors you are supposed to use, choose the actuators, you write the code, and then you design a particular system, right? But while designing the system, please take care of all these things, that whatever the system you are going to design, whatever the product you want to make, the cost of that product should be as low as possible. Your programming language, your sensors, your actuators, your boards, your microcontrollers, you have to choose accordingly. Okay, yeah, just in the last slide, I just discussed this thing. Steps to design the IoT based system. First of all, you have to identify the problem, then you have to select the hardware, whether you are supposed to use microcontroller, you want to use the processors, selection of the sensors, that which sensor you want to use, and what is the requirement of the customer, right? What is the requirement of the customer? Then you have to go for the programming of the system, test it. Testing is very important, because once if you have designed the system, say for example, I have designed the system in my lab itself, but the installation of the system need to be done at some agriculture part, or this system need to be installed at some pharmacy or some hospital or some mall or some other place, right? So you have to test your system over there. If, for example, the conditions, the circumstances in my lab where you have designed the system is something else, and the system which you're supposed to place is something else. Over there, you have to check that what is the response, what is the output of your system, what means you have actually written for it. And finally, you have to launch it. And once if you have done the testing, once the quality check is okay, in that case, you can simply launch your system. But please take care of this, selection of the hardware is very important, that which particular controller, which particular processor you want to use, because they all are almost in the same of size. Means, for example, if you want to go for the RTX ARM Cortex 7 or 8, so they're almost in size, but the prices are very different. The prices are very different. For example, if you are using the sensors, right, so you can go for sensor for the different company, but the prices are again very different. So accordingly, you have to choose that which particular sensor you want to use, depending upon the requirement of the customers. Okay, and now let us discuss some of the IoT enabled devices, or some examples. Some examples where you can use, where you can deploy, where you can simply employ the IoT enabled devices, like smart thermostats, security cameras. Okay, I would just like to ask you a simple question. If somebody can give the answer by unmuting him or herself, or you can write the answer in the chat box also. Uh, can you guess that in your home, at your home or in your office, how many systems are there in which microprocessors or microcontrollers are there? Can anyone guess? Can anyone guess that what are the systems in which microprocessors or microcontrollers are there? Means right now you can simply leave this IoT word. Anyone who can guess in the chat box? Okay, no issue. Let me just take one example. Let me just take one example. For example, if I take the example of my home, okay. So in my home, I have a TV. So what I feel that TV, my television would consist of a processor or controller. Yes, of course. My TV would consist of a processor. This could be an ARM processor, could be. And my TV is having a DTH box. So this DTH box would have a processor or controller. Yes, of course it would. It would have. It would have a processor or controller. Okay. At my home, I have a DVR. I have a DVR for my camera, for my installed camera. 3, 4, 5 cameras are there. So in DVR, do we have a processor or controller? Yes, of course we have 3. So television, DTH, my DVR for recording of the cameras. And what about the cameras? Does the individual camera, the CCTV camera, does they also consist of a processor or controller? Yes, of course, they also consist of the processor or controller. Okay, what about the mobile phones? We do have, means I have around 4 mobile phones at my home, one for myself, my wife, and 2 kids. Yes, all of them consist of a processor. All of them consist of a processor. Some of them consist of the ARM processor itself. Okay, what about the laptops? Yes, of course, laptops also consist of a. Okay, let us discuss something more. What about the microwaves? At my home, I have a microwave. Does the microwave also consist of the processor? Yes, of course. So right nowadays means if I talk about the electronic items in my home, so television, sorry, it's DTH, box, DVR, cameras, microphone, washing machine, fridge, mobiles, laptops, individual cameras. One Wi-Fi camera is there. So that Wi-Fi camera means what I need to conclude over here. Right nowadays, almost all the electronic items, right? They are having processors. They are having controllers, and these processes and controllers are going to connect these devices to the some server. Basically means in television I would have some other server, in microwave I could have some other server, in camera I could have some other servers. Yes, and by the time it is also possible that for example, if I have a microwave, I have a fridge, I have a TV, or some other electronic gadgets are there, they would be connected to a particular server which is at my home, right? And then further they can connect to each other, they can further talk to each other. Might possible that my microwave could communicate to the server by saying that I am on since last more than 1 hour, but there is no users. So there could be a notification that you need to switch off me. So for fridge also, there might be a message from the fridge. There might be a notification that the temperature is too less right nowadays. Although the atmosphere at the outside it's around 12 degree or 13 degree, you can reduce the temperature. You can reduce the temperature. So it is like that. And yes, of course, I forget to discuss about the vehicles. Yes, vehicles, right? Means I believe there are few companies in India those who have introduced this IoT term in the vehicles. I believe Morris Garage is there, if I'm not wrong. That then Hyundai also introduced one vehicle in which IoT is there. So how we can use this IoT term, IoT, connected devices in vehicular communication? Yes, there is an option. For example, if there is a XYZ vehicle, right, and this vehicle is completely IoT based, this vehicle is completely IoT enabled, right? So what can happen actually if it is connected with the internet? So that it must be connected with the server also. When say for example your means is this the service is due at 50,000 kilometer, for example, right? So then automatically the system can send a message to the workshop that this particular vehicle is supposed to complete the 50,000 kilometers in next 2, 3, or 5 days. Accordingly, you can get a notification also. Yes. And say for example, if the connected vehicles are there on the road, so you can simply get a information about the vehicle which is just next to you, that this vehicle is having a poor history. This vehicle has met the accident thrice in the last 1 year. So you have to drive carefully. And say for example, if there is a curve, so you can get the information priorly that there is a sharp curve ahead, or you have to take care of this. And these are just certain examples. Otherwise means if you go for a complete discussion of the vehicular communication as far as the IoT is concerned, there are n number of applications. There are n number of applications which can be used by the vehicular communication using the IoT. Okay. And wearable devices also, yes, wearable devices also could be used very frequently using the IoT enabled technologies. Okay, some of the components of IoT or IIoT sensor. Yeah, there is one more now. There is one more new term that is named as IIoT. IIoT stands for what? Anyone who can simply guess? Uh, he or she can write the answer in the chat box. What do you mean by IIoT? IoT stands for Internet of Thing, and IIoT stands for Industrial Internet of Thing. Means, for example, if you want to showcase this IoT for industry, means we know that as far as the industry rules and regulations are concerned, so they are having a very strict rules. So for them, the components, the sensors, the modules, the devices, the products which we are supposed to use will be quite different, right? So as far as the components of IoTs are concerned, so we have divided into four categories. The first is sensors or devices, second is the connectivity, third is the data processing, and lastly is the user interface. So what does it means? Sensors, as we have seen that sensor means all the components that we can detect a particular thing, and we can convert this information into the electrical form, right, or devices. Then we have the connectivity, how these sensors, how these modules can be connected to a particular server. That is through this could be either through a wired cable, this could be either through a Wi-Fi also, or some other networks could also be used. And then once if we have connected all the information, once if we have connected we have gathered all the information, so how to process this information? And this processing is not necessary that it will be done on the means local server itself. For example, if your industry is there in Delhi, right, so you can take the processing, you can do the processing by sitting in the Bangalore or Mumbai, or of course means sometimes it is out of the country also. So how we are going to process this information? And lastly, we have the user interface. User interface means what are the process data is there, how we can show this data on a particular user interface. And this user interface could be on a particular website, this user interface could be on a particular app, on a particular mobile phone. So it is like that. So how we have to integrate all these things? Certain sensors are there. I mean, say for example, in a particular system, we are having 8 to 10 sensors. The sensors are sending the data to the particular server, to a particular device. We have to connect these devices to the sensors, right? This could be a wired, this could be a wireless also. Once if we are getting the data from the sensor, then we have to process it. For example, if you have used a temperature sensor and you have set a threshold, that for example, if the temperature is more than 30 degree in the furnace, at somewhere, right, more than 40 degree or 50 degree, then we have to process something. Either we have to switch on some motor, we have to switch on some relay, we have to switch on some solenoid, or we have to switch on some conveyor belt, something like that. So this processing need to be done. And this processing, this processing will be on the binary or in some, digital forms, right? But this processing should be visible to the user. This processing should be visible to the user, and this could be done with the help of some user interface, like in the form of the app, in the form of the website, in the form of some graphs. We can show it. We can easily see all these things. Okay, and some of the labels of Internet of Thing actually have divided into four parts. First is the measurement, second is the automation, next is innovation, and yes, of course, IoT is all around, all the time. And I'm not sure that you are attending this webinar by sitting at which place, but if you would see you're around, so you'll find around 2 3 4 devices which are IoT based, which are Internet of Thing based. Okay, some of the IoT trends and some future real life examples. Although some of, I mean, we have already discussed some of them. Connected cars, smart appliances at your home, at your offices, connected security systems. If you want to, if you are having a security system at your office or at your home and you want to connect them together, and then you want to take a particular decision, if some intruder is coming or they are not, or some other animal or some other harmless things are there or not. Smart agriculture means why I'm putting the emphasis on these things. In the coming time, in the coming era, in the coming generation, all these things are to be the to be hot topics. Healthcare, biomedical, agriculture, vehicle communication, wearable devices, manufacturing, dairy products, forest, cities, smart cities. All these things are going to use IoT in a huge way. Means, for example, if you want to make your own startup, you want to become an entrepreneur, right? So in that case, IoT is a right choice for you. It's a right choice. is there is a huge scope for this IoT in agriculture and healthcare. Means whatever the topic you say, whatever the field you say, whatever the SDG you say. So there is a requirement for this. Okay, some of the career opportunities as far as this IoT is concerned, you could be the IoT product manager, you could be the IoT developer, industrial data scientist, you could be the chief IoT officer, embedded system design is also possible, embedded software engineer, and lastly, and the most common is hardware engineer in IoT or embedded system based devices. Okay, now the most important thing, what are the challenges? What are the challenges in IoT? Okay, yes, of course, a part of means from all these advantages, there are certain disadvantages also. And yes, government of means multiple many government of India also, they are taking care of all these things, how the security, how the privacy, and how the standards and all these things can be managed. Means because if I take an example of my lab itself, very easily we can connect anything with anyone. For example, if I am having a sensor, I have certain modules, and I have some websites, so easily, very easily, I can connect anything, and I can control anything from by sitting over here just by connecting some sensors and all these things. There's no as such hard rule. There is no as such kind of a protocols or some IEEE strict standards or some other rules and regulations are not there as far as the certain privacy is concerned, certain security is concerned. Sorry. So as far as security is concerned, so whatever the devices you are going to use, they should be secured, right? And it should not like that they are unsecured. So security is one of the prime concern for the IoT enabled devices. Privacy, yes, right nowadays it's a big concern. For example, if you have designed a system, you have incorporated a system, you have designed a product in which you are asking certain information of the users. Say for example, its name is his name, mail ID, phone number, XYZ. So how you are going to use them? Right nowadays, for example, if I design a system and if I ask some information, so that information will come to me very easily. But how I have to use, what are the privacy concerns? For example, if you're using if you're collecting the information, your private information, using the IoT. Standards, certain standards need to be framed out, certain standard need to be set down. Okay, for example, if you want to communicate with two devices, so how much distance should be there? Say for example, if Wi-Fi is there, how you can use this Wi-Fi should not you know uh, means give trouble to some other existing Wi-Fi. You are going to use LoRa, you are going to use some other modules, so these modules should not disturb the other Wi-Fis. Regulations, some regulations are also needed. Means hopefully by the time, by the next 5-10 years, government also will also look into this, and hopefully they will set down certain regulations by which we all can play very easily using the internet of things. Okay friends, so this is all from my side, and now if you have any query, you want to ask me anything, so you are most welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your insightful, impactful, and informative presentation. Your expertise and knowledge in this field is evident from the quality of discussion today. And your insights and perspectives provided valuable information to our attendees and helped to deepen their understanding of the topic. So, thank you so much, sir. Sir, we have few queries from the attendees. So, with your permission, sir, can we take up those queries? So, sir, can we take a few queries? So, are you there with us? So can you please, you are not audible, sir. Yes, can you please switch on your?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. All right, sir. So, sir, we have a query from an attendee, Rahul Mishra. He wants to know that, sir, in double E, if we take the admission in LPU, so would we be guided to create such IoT devices? So, what's your call on this, sir?
Ma'am, what is the name of this student?
Sir Rahul Mishra.
Okay, Mr. Rahul, in LPU, we are having certain pathways. We are having certain minors. Means it is not like that. For example, if you are from double E or you are from triple E, so you cannot go to the IoT. We are having certain pathways. We are having certain subjects which you can choose by the second year. And we are having so many students those who belongs to double E, and but they are taking their minors as a IoT or embedded system. So yes, of course, by taking the double E, you can easily choose the this IoT.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So, can you please switch on your video so that the attendees can see you as well? All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, we'll take up another last but not the least query from the attendee. So, another attendee, Jasmine Kukreja, she wants to know that what are the challenges are there in IoT and how at LPU we can face it, and what all advancements are there at LPU. So, anything on this, sir?
No, actually, as such, there is no challenge. In fact, the student used to enjoy this subject. The only challenge is that you must have basic knowledge of digital. You must have a basic knowledge of electronics, and that we used to provide to the student in first year itself. It means if you do start your first year from here, so definitely you will be getting the basic concept of all these things. So you need not to worry about that. There is no as such challenge, and if there is any challenge, so we are here to solve your challenges.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for resolving all the queries of our attendees. And now we have few queries from the admission part. So for that, I would like to request our admission nominee, Ms. Himanchi, to please join us and resolve the queries of our attendees by navigating them through the website and other highlights of the university. So over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ruby, for inviting me, and it is a privilege for me to be able to guide students about the admissions in here. So before I guide students about the admission, I hope they all are safe, happy at wherever they're staying. So before I dive deep into the admission process, I would just say one thing for our university, and that is they say that university, why not, when our students have reached such great heights, they are accomplishing such great things in the life, and they're not only making university proud but whole India proud. And the great example of this is in front of us. I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the great example of that, it is in front of us, and that is Mr. Neeraj Chopra, along with all our athletes, who have not just won us gold, but made whole India proud. And I, along with whole the university, would want to congratulate all. And when I, just a moment. Yeah, so when I move forward, this is something, that is again a prestigious thing that our university would be had done, and that is our LPU team has got second position in Khelo India tournament, and it has been there has been many universities in there, and we could come up second, and it's again a great thing to accomplish. Now, there's again Neeraj Chopra. Why? Because he has been our alumni, and he has won Tokyo Olympics 2020, and he has won us gold medal. So I again want to congratulate him. So just moving forward to it, we have more than 1,000 of our LPU alumni who have been working in MNCs across US, Canada, UK, Australia, and all the other countries with over 1 crore of package. And this is something that's again very accomplishing for the university and for the students also. Now there's something that the most students would be interested in, and that's the rankings. So we have our ranking, and to start with, we have World University Ranking, which was given by Times Higher Education, and we have been ranked 23rd, and which includes top universities of India, both government and private. And we swiftly move on to NIRF ranking. This ranking is very special because it has been given by our own government, that's Government of India, Ministry of Education. And we have been ranked 47th amongst all government and private universities in India. And to move forward, if I talk about specific divisions, a specific school, so we have 13th in law, 12th in architecture and design. Pharmacy, we have got 19th rank, 51st in engineering faculty. I should focus more on this. Why? Because there are many engineering colleges in India, which includes IITs and NITs, and we have been ranked, above some few NITs and IITs. So again, it is something that we have accomplished because of our students, of course. And then we have again the ranking, which have been we have got 34th ranking in the business. And when I talk about the global ranking, we have been ranked 74th globally, okay, and it has also been given by Times Higher Education, which does include all the universities present globally around the world. Now, this is something that is, that is not very usual for universities to be ranked, and that is we have been ranked 3rd in India in Atal ranking of institutions of innovation achievements, where actually we have been innovating new things in the university, and this is because of which we have got the 3rd rank around the India. Now, if I talk about the campus life and the exposure that you can get, while applying in the while being in the university, and while maybe thinking of the university, we of course, the man on the screen is our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi sir. He had visited us in 2019, and he has inaugurated 106th edition of Indian Science Congress, and the topic of the theme was Future India Science Technology. So he had been here in 2019, and he had inaugurated this conference. Now, to move ahead, we have Dalai Lama, who had come and presented degrees to our students. Now, now we have the Prime Minister of Afghanistan, who also had visited us and presented your degrees to the students. Now we have Shri Arun Jaitley sir. He has actually inaugurated LPU Startup School, which is a school for all the startup and on minds been there in the university and who's going to be there in the future also. Now we have very famous Gaur Gopal sir. He is not just famous for his thinking, but how he perceive things and how he tackle things on a daily basis. So again, he had been in here in the university and had motivated our students. Now to move ahead, we have everybody's heartthrob, Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. Of course, he had visited the university, and when we move forward, we had Sonam Kapoor, and we have had this Coke Studio function in here in the university itself, and people, especially students, did enjoy it a lot. Of course, last but not the least, Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, everybody's favorite cricketer. He had been in here and he had inspired many students, many aspiring athletes also, who did want to maybe play cricket, or if not, play sport specifically. Now, if I talk about infrastructure that we provide in our university, these are some of the library snapshots which you can actually get in here. You can actually study in here. All the books have been provided by the university itself. Now, when I move ahead, this is the campus. Our campus is in more than 600 acres, and you can visit our campus also. Now, this is the auditorium where most of our famous celebrities would come in and have a chit chat with all the students and all the members present there. Now, this is something that is present at the heart of the university, and to move forward, this is the uni mall that students are most interested in, because you can get everything from pen to paper. You can buy things, you can sit in here, eat and chill and relax in there. This is our mall. And then this is something for all the sporties who would want to play sports, who would want to maybe enjoy and have a little entertainment. Now this is the gym, which is again for the gym freaks who would want to be healthier in life, and of course everyone should be. So you can go and join our gym. And this is something, see, sometimes God forbid, everybody goes through things. So if by any chance you have any problem, so we do have our hospital facility in there in the university itself. So you need to be assured that you will be taken care of properly. Now this is our sports arena, which do provide everything, every sport, different sport, like swimming, like badminton, shooting, this football area, cricket area. And this is a panoramic view of our university, and this is the night view of our lovely professional university that you can see on the screen. Now you can visit us. That is a lovely professional university. So just a moment, I'll just a moment. Yeah. Yeah, so you can visit our website also to take the admissions. So basically what you can do is you just type lpu.in, okay, lpu.in. And once you type in the Google, you will be given this interface. You go to the admission. Once you click on the admission, there will be many options that would be visible to you. Now if you are if you are searching courses after 12th, and if you want an undergraduate program, so you will have of course all the programs. So you just go to regular programs in here. Once you click on the regular programs, all the programs that is available in the university would be visible to you, and all the discipline would be visible to you. So you can just click on any discipline that you would want to. And for example, you just click on the architecture, and then you have the B arc in there. So basically how you can this is how you can actually get your own course. And what you need to do is you just need to click on the course, and then you will be able to find everything of the course that is available on the site. That is a fee, scholarship, and all the important dates of the test if there's any, and a curriculum also. So what you can do is basically you can apply in the course directly on the site from clicking this option, how to apply. So once you click on that, you will be given all the things. Now this apply option is visible on the screen. You click on the apply now option, and there will be certain information that would be asked from you, and then you can apply in the admission. So I hope that this is I think I have made all the attendees clear about how you can get the admissions and what is being provided by the university. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for guiding the students through this admission process. And I think each and every query of them has been resolved. So thank you so much, ma'am. So with this, we'll wrap up today's webinar. So that's all for the day. My heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for attending this webinar on the topic, create your own IoT device. Your presence, participation, and support was instrumental in making this webinar a grand success. And experts, thank you so much. You have brought valuable insights and expertise to the table, and your presentation and discussion were both informative and engaging. And we understand that your time is valuable, and we appreciate the effort you took to join us and help to create an environment of collaboration and learning useful to the attendees. And attendees, we look forward to hosting such more webinars in future. So for that, keep a check on our website, that is www.lpu.in. So until next time, I, Ruby, will finally sign off the session. Thank you, everyone.